I have vivid memories of reading reviews for Shantae for the Game Boy Color. Everything I came across said the game was fantastic, and it only made me want to play it more. But I couldn't track down a copy. The game was really hard to find. So back when it launched in 2002, I didn't get to play it. I actually didn't get to play it until many years later, but throughout those years, I never forgot about the game. When I finally did track down a copy and sat down to play it, I saw that the game was worth the wait. I fell in love with the universe and the character and the gameplay, and from that day forward, I was a Shantae fan. Lucky for WayForward, that original Game Boy Color game made a lot of Shantae fans, and they were all hanging out waiting for another Shantae game to come around, which finally did on DSiWare. It was a hell of a wait, but nowadays we get Shantae games fairly regularly, which is much nicer than the long wait that we had from Game Boy Color to DSiWare. And over those years and over recent games, fanbase got bigger, and WayForward thought that maybe there was a big enough fanbase to do a Kickstarter for the franchise. You can probably guess the rest of the story because I'm here reviewing Shantae Half-Genie Hero, which is the game that came from the successful Kickstarter. Believe it or not, that Kickstarter launched back in 2013, and now we finally have the game in 2016. Backers got their codes, it's out at retail so everybody can pick it up. But the question is, was it worth the wait? Were backers right to trust WayForward with a big budget Shantae game? We're going to take a look and find that out right now. Shantae games have always been love letters to the Metroidvania genre, and for those that don't know, Metroidvania games are experiences that mesh together gameplay styles that you find in Metroid and Castlevania from Symphony of the Night forward. Shantae Half-Genie Hero certainly continues this tradition, but it also offers some unique twists along the way. It seems like WayForward took direct inspiration from a very specific Castlevania game, that being Order of Ecclesia. Order of Ecclesia did away with the giant castle layout that previous Castlevania games had in favor for self-contained levels that still included exploration. Shantae Half-Genie Hero takes that same approach, but goes even further to layer the experience a bit more with multiple reasons to return to each level. As with any good Metroidvania game, Shantae Half-Genie Hero is always going to offer up unique abilities for Shantae. As you go through levels, you're going to see a ton of areas you can't access. There's going to be rocks blocking your path, or platforms you just can't reach, water areas you can't fully explore, and so on. While you progress through the main game, you'll gain transformations and abilities that will let you explore those unreachable areas. Furthermore, Shantae's transformations can be expanded themselves. For example, early on you'll gain access to a monkey transformation, and that lets you jump a little bit higher and climb up some walls. But later on, you'll get another enhancement to that monkey transformation, which lets you dash through the air across holes. There's definitely plenty of transformations to collect, and some of them are going to be familiar to longtime Shantae fans, and others are completely new for this entry. There's actually a couple of them that really surprised me with how unique they are. They opened up levels in ways and gave you abilities that I feel like I haven't seen in games before, and that's saying a lot because I've been playing games for 25 years, so to see something new is really interesting. There's elements in levels that you won't even notice the first time you're playing through until you get that transformation, and then you're like, oh my god, that's what those things are, that's what they do. And it makes it that much more fun to go back to those levels and explore to see where you can gain access to. So yeah, you're going to be returning to levels quite a lot, and sometimes you're going to do it because you got a new transformation and you're like, I can't wait to see where that one area I couldn't reach leads to, so you're going on your own time, and other times the game will have you go to older areas because you need to do so to push the game forward. I don't see the backtracking as an issue because that's always been part of the Shantae games. If you're donating to the Shantae Kickstarter, you most likely know how Shantae games play, and you know that they have backtracking in them. But even with that said, WayForward went ahead and spiced up the levels a little bit for when you do return. Outside of the areas that you're looking to access that you couldn't get into before, you're going to see changes like different enemy placement throughout a level, or different little items along the way. And on top of that, you'll encounter entirely new enemies that weren't in stages before. So there are different things to see each time you return. Now, I can only speak for how I play games. When I play a Shantae game, I go through the areas and grab all the goodies I can find on the first run through, and then I don't worry about returning until the game asks me to go back to those areas, or I'm at the end of the game. So when I do get to the finale and I know there's lots of content left and levels to collect, that's when I take my time and go explore. I go back through those stages and I collect everything I left behind, and I get the items I couldn't get before because I didn't have the right transformations. And Shantae Half-Genie Hero keeps track of what items you have and haven't collected in stages, so it's easy enough to go through the map and see like, oh, there's still items here, I need to go in there and check stuff out. There's really only 2 game franchises that I play that I take the completionist route with. One of them is the Mario franchise, and the other is Shantae. I don't know what it is, but there's just something about Shantae that I find so gratifying to go in levels and get every little secret and every little power-up. It's just fun for me. I just really enjoy that. When I'm going through those stages again, I really get to take in the level design and aesthetics, and just like previous Shantae games, Half-Genie Hero has plenty of exotic locations to explore, and there's just tons of great platforming. I really adore when games take old school mechanics and exploit them in different ways, and I feel like that's exactly what Shantae Half-Genie Hero does. It has such a classic, solid gaming feel, and I feel like that's something a lot of companies can't do nowadays. You're going to have to be good at platforming to get to the end, you're going to have to use your head to explore and reach new areas, and the controls feel absolutely fantastic. It's really hard to put into words how great the experience feels. It's just like everything comes together and clicks. This is like WayForward's bread and butter. They really seem to be the masters of taking tried and true mechanics, tweaking them in certain ways, and then giving us an experience that feels familiar and new all at the same time. Where Half-Genie Hero really rises above all the other Shantae games is presentation. While Shantae games have always been well put together and they're really fun to watch, Half-Genie Hero goes way above and beyond. It's like a Saturday morning cartoon come to life. Shantae games are known for ridiculously detailed animations, and Half-Genie Hero is no different. Everything bounces and moves and sways, and it's also fluid. Every single screen, every character, every location you visit is filled with vivid colors. Every area has little artistic touches that make them all feel really special. Even the game's hub town is a joy to experience. And it seems like WayForward has a lot of fun in making hub towns for Shantae games because they always do something unique, something a little different with each one. And the one in Half-Genie Hero seems to marry a lot of ideas from previous Shantae hub towns into one really unique idea. It's that attention to detail, both large things and small things together, that make the overall presentation probably the best yet for the series. The only area I can say I'm a tad disappointed in is the soundtrack, and that is definitely not an area I thought I'd have complaints with. When I play a Shantae game, I'm always in a toss-up with what I like more, the gameplay or the music. They both just go so well together. For me, the franchise has had so many fantastic and memorable songs. It's got some of my favorite music in gaming in general. Shantae Half-Genie Hero has its fair share of excellent songs, and some of those are remixes and some of those are new, but overall I found the soundtrack just a little bit lacking. I might need to sit down and listen to the game's soundtrack when the soundtrack releases separately, but as of right now I feel like a handful of tracks were a little forgettable. It's still a great soundtrack by any estimate, but as far as the franchise goes, it's got such a high bar to set, I feel like Half-Genie Hero's soundtrack falls a little bit short. So is Shantae Half-Genie Hero worth the wait? Did the success of the Kickstarter result in a game worthy of all the money backers ponied up? I really don't think there's any question there. Shantae Half-Genie Hero is another outstanding entry in this franchise. It's not afraid to try some new twists on a classic formula, but it stays rooted in the gameplay core that fans have come to know and love. Almost everything about this Shantae game is bigger and better. In a time when multiple Kickstarters have concluded with games that leave many backers feeling stilted, I don't believe that to be the case here at all. Shantae Half-Genie Hero is the result of a developer that really knows its franchise. It knows how to craft a fantastic experience, and above all else, it's keenly aware of what fans know and love. The only trouble with Shantae Half-Genie Hero is that it bumps the bar up even higher for Shantae's next outing, and that bar was already sky high. Hey guys, RMC here from Go Nintendo. If you like what you saw in the video, why don't you give us a thumbs up and maybe even subscribe? We'd love to have you. If you want to see what else we're up to, you can check out GoNintendo.com for 24-hour Nintendo news. You can visit us on Facebook at Facebook.com/GoNintendo. You can check us out on Twitter at Twitter.com/GoNintendoTweet. And we're even over on Instagram at Instagram.com/GoNintendo. I put all the links in the description just to make it easier for you guys to follow. Thanks a lot.